is a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky thing. Popping, lock, and stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop. It's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here in studio, Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut. On
another tape show.
Steamy hot day, doing a, yes, as Bob said, taped show. Tuesday evening, we're sneaking in here, roughly 8:18, so some results pouring in as we tape this show, which will be airing in its usual time slot.
It was a very steamy day. I mean, we had an early dismissal for school. I mean,
when was the last time that happened?
It's never happened, not since I
Look,
can
Bob,
remember.
I was out there working outside in the heat all day. I didn't need an early dismissal. I almost had to call you and the fire department to come help me out, though.
Oh, you were really exhausted?
I might faint during the show, so keep the paramedics on standby.
Okay.
But yeah, super hot.
Yeah.
I don't know. Summer keeps dragging on, and
well, we were busy. The guys were busy all weekend, especially the fire up in the Fairfield.
Is that out yet?
Yeah, they have it out. 20 plus acres burned.
Wow, that took like 3 days or so.
3 days to get out.
Yeah, we haven't seen that happen around here in a long time either.
No, but we haven't had no rain. We haven't had rain in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and that rain was, even when we had rain, it wasn't that much.
No.
And it hasn't been that much. So super dry out there. Be careful if you're doing campfires. A lot of people like to get the bonfires going this time of year. Be careful. Safety first, people.
Yes, please.
You know how it is. So yes, we snuck in on a Tuesday night for our show this week as we get ready for the NFL season. But let's officially say hello to Bob Broad Jr.
Nice.
And his show, of course, Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. And there we see Bob with Dave King getting ready as they will reunite
again
at SNYRA, Southern New York Racing Association event, September 20th, 11 to 4, Sunday afternoon at the PAL building. So that's 2 Sundays. Not this week?
No, this week is Taste of Danbury.
Oh, it is a Taste of Danbury.
And actually, the Taste of Danbury is going to be good. They got the Billy Joel band.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, on Saturday night, so it'll be a
maybe things will have cooled off a little bit by then.
I hope so.
Mike Toohey in there, somewhat solo. I think Connor maybe is helping him out tonight instead of watching TV in the office. I don't know. We can never quite tell. Toohey Show, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, Bob. So it is almost football actually.
Season.
Well, the show airs on Thursday, so when you're watching this, it'll be a mere hours away for kickoff. Defending champion, Super Bowl champion, New England Patriots.
Just one thing. I'm tired of the Deflategate. I'm tired of hearing about. I just want to get the season underway and not hear anymore.
Hold on a second, Bob. Mike's rolling the pictures.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll be able to talk at all. I'm just going to sit here and look at the photos. Come on, Mike. Run them through.
Run them quick.
The final play. There it is. He drops back to pass.
Yeah.
Malcolm Butler, he reads the play. Oh, it's intercepted at the goal line. And the New Patriots are your Super Bowl champions of XLIX, Super Bowl 49, 28-24. No mirage in the desert of Arizona this time. The Giants weren't on the field.
No.
There was another controversy, a gate-like controversy as this play unfolded, but this time the football gods smiled on those Patriots, and the unknown Malcolm Butler, out of nowhere he comes. A Cinderella story, really, Bob. A little used player, undrafted. I mean, he gives motivation to anybody out there. You don't have to be a high draft pick. He wasn't even drafted.
I know.
Free agent on the practice squad. Barely played through the regular season. Stayed ready. Stayed prepared. They loved him in practice. They said, "You'll get your time, kid." And at the biggest moment and the biggest game of the year, he stepped right in and made the interception, giving the Patriots their 4th Super Bowl, and that was quite the moment. And they obviously celebrated fantastically here Russell Wilson didn't know what happened to him as he shakes his head as we see it all unfold in this beautiful. Who picked out these pictures?
I don't know. Somebody's a Boston fan.
Come on, Pop. I've endured 7 months of some made-up story about deflated footballs. Deflategate.
So now, what's the latest that we haven't heard?
Well, before we get to some breaking news today, yeah, right, more made-up nonsense coming out of the NFL. What a shock, Bob. Last week, the Patriots crushed the NFL in the courthouse.
Right.
Brady comes out unscathed as the judge shakes his finger in the face of Roger Goodell and says, "Shame on you, Mr. Goodell. You have run a mockery of an investigation. You have no proof whatsoever." And the worst part is the guidelines for the supposed infraction call for a minor $25,000 fine.
Drop the bucket.
And, you know, so it's a minor infraction if it happened,
right?
Which we still do not know that it did happen because there is no proof that it did happen. Might I remind you, Bob, they tested the Colts footballs, only 4 of them. They didn't test all 12. I wonder why.
I don't know.
But 3 out of the 4 Colt footballs also were under-deflated from that game. And the science guys all say, yeah, you guys have never run the science on this. You don't keep track at all. There's no numbers written down before the game, written down during the game. It's obviously a pretty natural occurrence for you to play with a football and it to lose air. Bob, have you ever played football? You ever thrown around the football?
Yeah.
I have a pump at my house.
Right.
Why? Because when you're playing with the ball, you got to re-pump it up.
After you play
Same
with so
thing
much,
with the basketball.
Everything loses air.
And the bottom line is you can't play football if there isn't any air in it.
Right.
So all these losers out there who are looking for reasons to poke holes, put some pins in the football to deflate some air as to reasons why the Super Bowl champions, right there, Mike, very nice, why they are the champions once again and why they've had such a long-standing run of success.
Right.
Maybe they're just good, Bob. Maybe they just know what they're doing up there.
Maybe it's possible. It's very possible.
You know?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
It's possible.
So a week after getting their hats handed to them in the courtroom by the Patriots, what a shock. Somebody from the NFL digs up some old news and refers to Spygate, saying it was much worse than what it appeared to be at that time.
Right.
And it was pervasive and widespread and dating back years. Personally, I actually haven't read the news stories yet. You have filled me in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Nonsense. All nonsense. The crybabies at the top of the executive boardroom of the NFL are worse than the crybabies in the fans that sit in the stands and cry about the Patriots winning. Which is worse? The knuckleheads in the front office who can't run anything properly? This is the 5th time Goodell has gone to court and lost. Yet he still gets paid $40 million a year. Why? Because the ratings are through the roof, and that is the bottom line, Bob. The only reason all this stuff goes on is so they can get the highest ratings possible. We pointed it out last year. The Super Bowl was the highest rated TV show ever. Ever. They are so greedy, they can't just deal with the fact that they make money hand over fist with this league, that they have to drum it up even more, and kept themselves in the news all offseason with this completely bogus story. And now with the Patriots getting set to play in the kickoff game against the Steelers and raising their banner, they're going to drag up some old nonsense. It's just ridiculous, Bob. Really infuriating when you really think about the whole situation as a whole. And how about this, Bob? If the commissioner of the football league can't go to the signature game to start the season where the defending champions are raising the banner because he's a disgrace, how is he holding on to his job?
Oh, I really don't know.
It's unreal what this guy has done to the league and what he gets away with, and how, the petty owners of the other teams try to take their shots and say, go get him, Roger Goodell. Go get, Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft. The flag bearers of success of your league. These guys, and I remind you, Bob, everybody likes to say the Patriots are arrogant, this, that, and the other. Show me the quote wherever before a game, after a game, they had nothing but high praise for their opponent. That's all they do before, during, after games. We had a great opponent this week. We got to be prepared. We're going to have to play our best game. We don't overlook anybody. They played outstanding. We were lucky to win. We had to execute this, that, and the other. And yet they're the arrogant ones. Why? Because they win.
Right.
Bottom line. That's it. I mean, it's really quite infuriating. All right, so anyways, Bob.
Let's get on.
Maybe Mike should show some more pictures to calm me down, get me back in a good mood.
Let's get on to the next thing here.
How about we break down a little bit of the NFL as we got some time here to go through. What do you think? Any predictions from you as the season starts, Bob?
I would like to see my Giants go at least to 10-6. At least to make it somewhat decent.
They did not have a good season last year. We do know that much. What were they? 6-10.
Yeah,
so you'd like to turn that around completely.
Turn it around.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Eli had a little.
He wasn't great. That final preseason game against the Patriots, not many of the starters played, so we can't really break too much out of that. Victor Cruz is still injured. We don't think he's playing, right?
Hell no.
In their Sunday night tilt against the Cowboys. They get the Sunday night game, prime time for them. So we'll see what happens. Offensive line is a question mark again this year. It was last year. And secondary was a question mark last year. Still a question mark. You got the whole JPP thing. You have to be happy about Steve Spagnuolo coming back to be the defensive coordinator.
Very good to have him back.
He's been gone for a while.
Long time.
He was gone was he gone before the 2011 one? That was the last time they made the playoffs as well.
I think so.
They did pick up my Patriot, Shane Vereen, good versatile back out of the backfield. He's going to help. Second year for Eli, trying to get comfortable with the new West Coast offense, so that should help. Of course, we know Odell Beckham is the greatest receiver ever to put on a jersey.
Right. Have you started your fantasy football yet?
I did do my draft. I got to make some moves. I got some guys that are out.
Out hurt already?
Yeah, my tight end situation for one of my teams not looking good. Overall, I did pretty good, though. I think I didn't get Tom Brady on my team this year.
You didn't get Tom Brady? How come?
I didn't. Well, because the suspension was looming. I didn't know if he was going to play or not.
So who you got?
I got the guy from the Lions, Stafford, and I also have Phillip Rivers on my other team.
Phillip's good.
Stafford on the money team, Rivers on the Smack League team, which I'm more. I should be more concerned about the money, but of course I need to win the Smack League.
Yeah.
I got to smack those guys down. Patriots, will they win their 13th AFC East title in 15 years?
It's good. It's a good vibe.
Probably a good bet. I think the division is a little better this year. I don't know what to make of the Jets, really. I do like the new coach, Todd Bowles, coming out of Arizona, good defensive coordinator coming out of there.
We don't have Sexy Rexy to play with the Jets this year. Unfortunately, he's up in the.
He stayed in division, shuffled on off to Buffalo.
So he's going to be up there in the snow belt.
And of course, he's off to his, opening his mouth like he always does. The Patriots don't look that good, he said this week. He thinks they've taken a step back.
Yeah, that's what. So we'll see how many inches of snow he gets up there to.
Sexy Rexy's trying to sell tickets again. The fat man in a bathtub.
We might not hear very much from him now because he won't be in the New York limelight. He'll still be in New York, but he'll be up toward
Jets. So they do have some old friends back, holding down the secondary. Antonio Cromartie and Darrelle Revis. So the Patriots have to deal with the fact that Revis and Brandon Browner are both gone.
Right.
That is a big deal, I think. They completely overhauled their secondary. And Kyle Arrington's gone, and Big Vince, the man who has anchored the front defensive line, the center position, he is out. Went to Houston. Vereen, I mentioned, gone. Ridley gone as well. So their running back situation has changed drastically. And Brandon LaFell, their top playmaking wide receiver, is hurt for the first 6-7 weeks at least. They did go out and get a new tight end to help with they like that 1-2 punch. We know Gronk is there.
Right.
Scott Chandler from Buffalo, he looks good. And Travaris Cadet is going to be the new guy to take the place of Vereen. So we're going to have to see how he does. Defensively, very young. Chandler Jones, they got a new Trey Flowers, Dominic Easley, Dante Hightower, Jamie Collins. A lot of young guys in the front, on the line and in the linebacker core. And Gerard Mayo comes back. So that's a big thing with them. some of the big games for them are on the road this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Week 2, they go visit Sexy Rexy and the Bills, but they're at the Cowboys in Week 5, at the
Right.
Colts Week 6. They're home for the Jets 7. Week 10 at the Giants. Week 12 at the Broncos. Some of their biggest out-of-conference games are all on the road this year, so that's interesting to keep track of as well.
I wonder how the Colts will do this year. You know, I mean, Peyton's been.
He's been well. It's Andrew Luck's show there
Yeah.
now. He's firmly supplanted Peyton Manning. But, you know, I mean, the Patriots are going to try to smack them down because they're the ones who brought up this whole Deflategate nonsense to begin with. We'll see. The Colts have dominated the South since Luck got there, really.
Right.
I don't think they've lost a game in division in 3 years. But they do poorly outside the division. But, you know, I think Houston could be a little better. They still have a problem with Brian Hoyer at quarterback. So their QB situation is not great, but they do have a great defense there. They played pretty well last year, even though they had quarterback issues.
Right.
You know, I don't expect anything out of the Titans. They got rookie quarterback Marcus Mariota, the Heisman winner, and the Jags, of course. You know, what are they going to do?
No,
Bortles in his second year. So the Colts will probably be dominant again in division and maybe get beat around outside the division. But Houston should give them some problems. They did go out and get Houston's wide receiver, Andre Johnson, and they got Frank Gore from San Francisco to take the place of Trent Richardson, who is out of the league now. One of the biggest busts of all time. But back to the AFC East, you know, we talked about Buffalo getting the new coach.
Right.
You know, but they also picked up Percy Harvin and LaShawn McCoy.
Right.
McCoy's got some injury problems, but he's got a chip on his shoulder because he was furious about getting let go from Philly. And he's a great player, Shady McCoy. So they did get some weapons. We'll see what they can do. Miami goes out and gets Ndamukong Suh, you know, one of the top defensive linemen in the league.
I'd like to
Bit
see
of a head
Miami do
case.
something this year. I mean, it's been a while. They really haven't.
Really, it has been a very long
Time since
the last time they did anything was when they had what's his name from the Jets.
Yeah.
Remember Paddington Bear? Ted Pennington.
Yeah, that was the last push they had.
That was the 1 year the Patriots didn't win the division.
Yeah.
And they also went and got Greg Jennings.
Yeah.
He's a little bit over the hill as a receiver, and Kenny Stills, who's okay. So Miami made a few moves, nothing spectacular. And, you know, the Jets is going to be interesting because they do have Cromartie and Revis.
Right.
Sheldon Richardson suspended for the first 4 games. Geno Smith knocked out by a teammate who
Yeah,
then been cut.
literally knocked out.
Sucker punched in the locker room. Way to go, Jets. Way to go, Geno Smith. He's out for the first 6 weeks. Broken jaw. So Fitzpatrick, the studious one from Harvard, correct?
Yeah.
He's the man leading the way. He's a serviceable quarterback, but he's not going to win you too many games. He might not lose you too many games. So they're going to be relying on defense, running game. They did go get Brandon Marshall after last year getting Eric Decker. So they do have 2 decent wide receivers right there. Marshall has been a pretty good wide receiver. He did have injuries last year, though, as well. Some of the other AFC divisions, the West, Broncos, no more John Fox. It's Gary Kubiak at the helm running things. Peyton Manning, of course, did not retire.
Right.
I had hoped he would. Speaking of things you get tired of, Deflategate, Spygate, Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Pretty tired of him.
How many commercials we got to see of Peyton Manning?
High-pitched voice Peyton Manning. That's the latest one. What a disgrace.
Yeah.
That's worse than the Tony Romo one I was doing. Oh, my God. These guys. Embarrassing. Phillip Rivers got a new contract.
Right.
Chargers are still in San Diego, haven't moved to LA yet. Not sure what that new contract means, if they're going to move or what. The Chargers were decent last year, but they faded. You know, I'm not too convinced they're going to do much. The Raiders have a new coach, Jack Del Rio.
Yeah, but the Raiders haven't done
I do like Jack
either,
Del Rio
really.
as a coach, so maybe. And then, of course, our former evil director, Kevin Gallagher, and his Kansas City Chiefs. And also our man, Fatty Roots, Mikey Summers. His team is the Chiefs as well. We'll see what the Chefs are cooking up this year. They said goodbye to Dwayne Bowe, their long-standing wide receiver, and brought in a younger version of him, big playmaker Jeremy Maclin from the Eagles. So that's a big move because they were Bo didn't have any touchdowns last year, and I don't think Alex Smith threw a touchdown pass to a wide receiver all season. It was all running backs and tight ends.
He didn't get very far of anything.
So with Macklin there, that should help the offense. Their safety, who will be the motivational story this year, recovering from cancer. Remember, things went a little bit awry for them around week 10 when he went down with cancer.
Right.
They had a couple other injuries, but Eric Berry returns and will be starting, I believe, week 1 after going through chemo and everything, and he is back on the field, so that's a big story right there. The North is going to be the same thing, Bob. These guys beat each other up every year. Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and the Browns picked up Dwayne Bowe.
I don't know what Steel City's going to do, if they're going to do anything at all.
I don't know. A half a game separated those 3 teams last year. Remember, one of those teams had a tie.
Right.
And the Bengals can never win in the playoffs. The Ravens, for a tough team with the mantra that will beat you up, they do more crying than the Colts after the Patriots beat them. They got involved in the Deflategate saga as well, so I have no love for them, as I've made clear many times in this show. No respect, no love for a team that poses as a tough team and then loses and cries and comes up with excuses afterwards. Be men and take your loss. And it makes no sense with them. With the Colts, I mean, the Patriots pummel them all the time. The Ravens has had success against the Patriots.
Right.
So, I mean, it's been good battles back and forth between them. So when you lose, just take it. You lost. Get over it. Patriots do. They come back and they get ready for the next year and they win. It's back and forth with those two teams. But then they always cry. And it makes it worse because they have that tough guy mentality, which is complete fraud and phony. Fake tough guys are the worst, Bob. Just push them around. They'll back down. We'll see what happens when they lose. They cry. That's what happens.
Let's go to
NFC. All right, so DeMarco Murray's gone.
Right.
I do not think Derek McFadden is going to be the guy to replace him in Dallas.
I don't think so either.
So we'll see what happens with the Cowboys, who did win the division last year. Eagles get DeMarco Murray, so that's a big blow to the Cowboys.
And lose Mr. Vick.
Yeah, he goes, he's back up with the Steelers. That's no big thing with them. They traded for Sam Bradford and sent Nicky Foles out to St. Louis. So the Rams get, Bradford's injury plague. Surprise, surprise, they cut Tim Tebow. He looked good in preseason. I thought he was a Chip Kelly kind of guy.
I would take Tim Tebow any place because he's still a good player.
Right. I don't know what's going on with him. The Redskins, I don't think you need to worry about them. RG3's
he gets hurt more.
He needs to pray to Jesus now because he's done. He's cut. Kirk Cousins is the man at the helm for the Redskins. So that's that. North Division, Packers lose Jordy Nelson for the season. Big blow and a preseason injury. The Vikings get Adrian AP all day. Peterson back. That's big for them. I think the Vikings will be pretty good this year. They were decent okay last year. Defense not so bad. Lions lose Sue, and the Bears get a new coach. John Fox is the new guy there. They turn the corner again with the new coach, and they lose Brandon Marshall. In the South, the Saints lose Jimmy Graham. Their defense was a mockery last year, so we'll see what they can do. Panthers, big blow. They lose their big playmaking wide receiver, Kelvin Benjamin, to a knee injury. He's out for the year. They have no weapons on offense. Cam Newton is the guy. Defense wasn't great last year. It was okay, but the year before, remember, they were outstanding. So that was good. Falcons, they have a new coach as well. Mike Smith is out. Dan Quinn, who I know nothing about. They're looking to be healthy this year. I think the Falcons can make some noise this year because they were injured last year, and they do have a decent team. Tampa gets Jameis Winston. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Lovie Smith in his second year. Out west, Seattle. They have the Super Bowl losing hangover. And their top players getting the big contracts, which means that the role players they can't keep. So they started losing players. They did get Jimmy Graham, so big playmaker right there. The Cardinals, they get Carson Palmer back. Remember, he was hurt last year. They almost had a good season even without him. Just based on their defense, which is good. San Fran loses Coach Harbaugh, who went to Michigan, so they got a turnover right there. And they lose Gore as well. St. Louis gets Nicky Foles, so we'll see what happens there. That's your football preview. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see.
We got anything for college real quick?
Yeah. UConn won 20-15 on opening weekend. Pretty good game. I told you Villanova was not going to be a cakewalk at all. Very good team, even though they're in the subdivision. But it was good. They held on for the 2015. Bryant Sharif, the Sharif did like it. He rocked the Casbah, 202 yards, 2 touchdowns, 10 for 20, rushed for 33. Pretty good start. They play Army this weekend, Saturday afternoon, 12 o'clock.
My friend is going to the game. He
yeah?
wait.
Yeah, that should be a good game. My Colorado State Rams, did they put the beat down on Savannah State? 65-13, Bob.
Ooh, they did that with the thumper.
Yeah, they sure did. They got a tough game this weekend against Minnesota. At home, Minnesota gave TCU a big scare this weekend. TCU, of course, second-ranked team in the nation. So, going to be a tough test at home for CSU this weekend. But it was nice to see them thump a team out of the gate in the new coach's debut, Mike Bobo. Bobo on the corner. Going to have to get some Beastie Boys theme song for him in here. Utah beat Michigan. We mentioned Coach Harbaugh there in his debut. He did not come away with the victory, 24-17. Bama ran away from Wisconsin in the only matchups of 2 top 25 teams, 35-17. Wisconsin probably falls out of the 25 now. Oregon versus Michigan State is a big game this weekend. Number 7 versus number 5. That's the only ranked teams. Also, Ohio State rallied in the second half. They were losing at halftime against Virginia Tech on Monday night. Last night, although this show is airing Thursday, so that was 3 days ago. We're in a time warp. How about your Mets? Big win on Monday night to open the series against the Nets.
Last night was a great game.
Yeah, that was good. Maybe I can get a quick score on the Mets as we do that. See if we get anything. What's happening with your Mets as they're playing tonight? Also, a big event tonight. Serena versus Venus in the quarterfinals. That has been delayed by heat. Bob, there's been 11 players who have gone down
by heat stroke.
By heat stroke during this tournament, the most in quite a while. Let's see how your Mets are doing. Down 3-1 in the 6th in the second game of that series against the Nationals, but they did get the first game. The Yankees are losing in the second game of that series. They beat Baltimore in the first. So they were, as we do this show on a Tuesday evening, half a game behind Toronto because Boston Red Sox, playing the spoiler on a little bit of a winning streak, they beat Toronto handily in game 1, 11-4. So that's pretty much it. As we run out, we are live next week, Bob. So we will not have to do any standings that are not up to date. We will be current. We will be live.
We'll be down at for 9/11.
Okay, what do we got going? Where are you at?
I'll be down on right at Elmwood Park.
Okay.
I'll be down there with the fire department too. So.
And I know it's a tough day for you, double so, because your father passed away 2 years ago on that day, making it even more difficult. And we keep him always in our thoughts, our number one fan, always tuned in and checked us out. So we do miss him quite a bit. All right, we will see you next week live on Thursday night. Take care.